We are culture. Nothing moves without us.
DC, what up? Northeast, what up? East Coast, what up? We international, Ryan. I seen some guys, in the alleyway by my building last night, try to rob a guy. The guy pulled out a pistol. Now these kids are in the alleyway stuck.
Yep.
Moonwalking they happy ass back in that car.
Yep.
Because if you can see, from my back, I'm sitting there frozen watching this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's about to be a bloodbath right here in front of me.
Since moving to Baltimore, I didn't realize how much your environment impacts you. Like, I've been in DC and the person who sexually assaulted me ended up on the same train card as me.
Right there with you.
I've had to do an event with the mayor, and I'm working directly across from the building that I was sexually assaulted in, and still have to do my job and still have to show up.
Jesus Christ.
So your environment impacts a lot of your PTSD, and we don't realize that. Where you got shot at, where you shot somebody at, where where you found your mother at a bus stop at. Like, all of that, you gotta keep seeing that all the time. DC not that big.
Not at all.
So I feel like, how come every major city, particularly Democrat-run black cities, urban cities, how come we all suffering the same disease?
Let me ask you a question. You're a beautiful woman. How important is it to be, no problem, how important is it to be seen as more than that, though?
All of us have our different things, but for me, because I was sexually assaulted and molested and, have gone through those types of things, I have always wanted to be, as I got older, I wanted to be respected for more than what I look like.
Right.
Because in some ways, I blamed what I looked like for people wanting to do things to me, for people wanting to hurt me. I felt like a target because from the time I used to be walking with my dad, people would be like, "Oh, she's so cute. You're gonna need a shotgun when she get older," and all of that.
And we think that type of shit is cute to say.
Yeah, like, "Oh, she's so pretty. You're gonna have to keep the boys off of her." I'm hearing this at 6, 7, 8 years old.
So it's embedded.
So if my first sexual experience is one that's forced, is one that I shared with the adults in my family because my first instinct was to tell somebody and nothing was done about it, then that makes me feel like my body is not valuable.
Right.
So I move forward with that. Like, that's how I now start to view, like, oh, well, they ain't make a big deal out of it, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it.
Was the abuse, the initial abuse, was that something that happened internal with family?
So when it happened, when I was sexually assaulted at 13, I didn't tell the police. I didn't. Who I'ma tell? Because when I first told, I was silenced.
Yeah, and it's normalized now.
It's normalized.
13, 7. When did the suicide come into play? Northeast, what up? DC, what up? East Coast, what up? We international. Man, all over the world, they listening to Floyd 118 presents Highthoughts. Shout out to the Culture Media Network. Shout out to everybody who tuning in all over the world. Man, we got a hell of a show for you today, hell of a guest. But first, this show, like every show, is brought to us by Tri-State Trichomes and Highthoughts Cannabis Company. Today, they got us smoking on cotton candy, or what is it? Is it ice cream or cotton candy? Hold on. This the cotton candy. This thing smell amazing. And we gonna see how it is, man. They done gave us some mushrooms today and all of that. We ain't gonna do all of that. They talking about chasing rabbits and going into outer space. I don't know about that, Tri-State, but as always, salute and thank you so much. I appreciate y'all tuning in. But first, before I do anything and start anything, I want to introduce my esteemed guests. DC representative. I was about to say DMV, but she old school DC. Ain't no doubt about that.
Ain't no DMV.
But she done expanded her reach. She out there doing great work in Baltimore as well, all over really the DMV. So we got to say that, right? Author, poet, motivational speaker, dot connector, healer. Kristina Ghilcrist, how you feeling?
Good. I like that last
That's real, right? Because
I
if
like
you can't,
that one.
because that's really
Yeah.
encompasses everything,
Yeah,
right? How you
definitely.
doing today?
I feel good.
Man, I'm so honored to have you here. I can't believe
Thank
you
you for
came out to
inviting
mess with
me.
little old me.
Yes.
How was your week?
My week has been good.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Tell me
work,
about it.
Work has slowed down a lot. Kids
Yeah.
are back in school. Baltimore started school on Monday.
Yeah.
So, that's good for me. But yeah, I have no complaints. Life is great.
Tell me
right
about
now.
Baltimore. Everybody, growing up in DC, it was always like a weird little, we don't mess with Baltimore, we don't mess with New York. You can't really ask anybody why. I mean, they just some
No one
Bammers, they just some this and that.
knows
Somebody know why somewhere way back, somewhere, somebody got hit for a brick or something. Something happened. Something happened. But
Right.
tell me just your experiences being in Baltimore, and then like you say, you work with the youngest, you work with communities.
Yep.
What are some of your just face value differences that you see in the two areas?
I mean, Baltimore is not Maryland. That's the first thing I got to say. It's like its own little island with its own little culture or whatever.
Everything.
I forget that I'm like in Maryland when I'm in Baltimore.
What up, dummy?
But I've always had like this love for Baltimore.
For
Like,
real?
Yeah, when I was little.
So
my
you was
father-
going out, be more sneaking out there all the time.
Yeah. I used to go. I mean, my father, we was super duper poor.
Yeah.
But he would take me up Baltimore like we was out of town. Like,
Where
you
y'all
gotta tell
from?
me.
Where was y'all from?
Uptown.
Okay.
I grew up 14th Street, Columbia Road,
Oh,
Harvard,
okay.
Girard,
It's all the
that.
good food is right there too.
Yeah,
all different,
yeah.
like Ethiopian, Spanish, anything you
Everything.
want.
We grew up with
Melting
all
pot.
types of people.
Okay.
Yep. And so my father, we would get on the bus and come all the way. Like he was real resourceful.
Yeah.
So we'd hop on the bus and come to Baltimore and like stay in a little hotel or whatever and go to the harbor. But then after that, I would come up to the little gay clubs and stuff that used to be
In
up
Baltimore?
there. Yes, all night till the sun came up.
Yeah, okay.
We'd be up there doing that. And then the food. They've always had the best food.
Amazing food.
Yeah, so everybody went to Moe's when they was teenagers.
Yeah, definitely. Crab cakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The crab cakes.
Yeah,
And that was a
so-
sneaky spot too.
Yes.
You might see anybody in there off the
Yes.
late night.
Yes. So
Yeah.
definitely we used to go to Moe's all the time. But yeah, it's so I've always respected the city. I've always loved the city. In my book, I definitely said I thought all of y'all was Bammers. Like I introduced this one character. And in the book, the characters is saying like I used to think all Baltimore niggas like had big old T-shirts,
Hell
you
yeah.
know, all of that. But they
5X.
they wear New Balance and all this.
Yeah, they got a little swag now. They done cleaned up a little
They
bit.
might come with a little gold tooth or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
but,
some Bama shit. Shout out to my dummies.
But then it's different things. So I look at it like it's a city, but it's a small town. Like their two high schools have a big rivalry. That's like the biggest game. Like adults be tailgating
Right.
and all of that. I have horses in my house.
Damn,
Like,
for real? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's like Baltimore County, Baltimore City, all of that, right?
well, I live in a city, but the horse culture is a thing. Like they deliver produce in the hood. Like I live in the hood,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of downtown, and the horses deliver produce. Prime example, I took a picture one day. Family Dollar, Dope Fiends,
Yeah.
horses, all in a picture. That just gives you.
That's Baltimore.
You
I went out there.
can.
I went out there to do some music, some writing, and I'm talking about my hotel room is a marble bathtub, jacuzzi in the hotel room. Dope Fiends lined up right as soon as you walk out the door. It's
Yes.
Zombie Land.
Yes.
I wrote half the project. It's
Yes.
so many. It's Zombie Land.
Yeah. And it's strange to me because you come from down here.
Mm-hmm.
It's different types of drugs. You go up there, it's like the 80s. It's like everybody on heroin.
Everybody on dope.
Everybody on heroin. And to
It's
see
crazy.
like that's so it's like you go back in time when you go there. But
Generational.
the people got so much heart. Like the kids, they done seen
Yeah.
so much. They've gone through so much. I
That's
just
beautiful.
respect the
That's
city and I
beautiful.
love being able to serve the city I live in.
You like doing the work out there?
I love it.
Love it.
All kids, my kids. I don't care where they from.
Where they from?
Yeah, if you're a black teenager, you mine. I don't care what city we in. Everybody forget that I'm not from there.
That's how I
The
be
way I
feeling.
love on them kids. Like
That's
yeah.
how I be feeling. And you
I
got
ain't
to.
scared of no hoods. I ain't like wherever we at is where we at.
Because it come from a genuine place,
Yeah,
organically,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
My weekend was pretty interesting. Week, so we dropped we dropped the interview last week, and I don't know when this is going to air, so that's why I'm trying to be careful. But very controversial.
Yes.
So the feedback been incredible, but we just gonna keep building on that. Keep, you know what I mean?
Great interview, by the way.
Thank you. We try to knock them out the park. I love the way that this stuff evolves. Like, because I know somebody said, man, well, you know, I see y'all smoking weed, or I saw the logo, I heard the title, and I thought one thing, and it wasn't what I thought. You know what I mean? It was different. Tell me a little bit about when you're dealing with public perception and trying to meet certain standards that maybe society has for you, and evolving past that or elevating past that.
So I feel like I have all these different sides to me, right? So
Yeah.
I've been in politics since like 2012, 2013 or something.
Right.
I don't have a degree.
Okay.
I have no background in politics. The way God orchestrates things, sometimes if you about your shit, you know how to work. You do what you're good at, and people see that and recognize that.
Yeah.
He put you in places that people
Open
might
some
think
doors
you don't
up.
belong.
Yeah.
So coming from where I come from, and then going into politics or a world where how you present yourself matters and all of that kind of stuff, I've definitely had to, and I wasn't raised with my mother, so a lot of the things that I do or that I am, I've had to teach myself how to be in these spaces, how to be in these rooms, how to move a certain way depending on who I'm around, and how to play these games that politicians play or whatever. So it's been definitely I'm up for the challenge though. I love it.
But let me ask you a question. In those situations, have you ever experienced imposter syndrome?
I have not.
Never.
No, because
Really?
now what I have experienced is overwhelming myself because I'm trying too hard to prove that I deserve to be here.
That's a little imposter syndrome.
So like, for instance, working in one of my positions where everybody is younger than me.
Okay.
So if I got to stay late and they ask me to stay late, I'm going to stay late because I'm trying to outwork everybody else.
Damn right.
So that pressure that I put on myself to be the best, to prove that I can raise children in this environment, that I don't have to have a degree, that all of y'all are way younger than me, but I'm going to be here first and I'm going to be here last. That's what I've experienced. Like, I've experienced just overworking myself, just trying to prove like I belong here and I can compete with people who got bachelors, masters, and all of that.
I've been in them same type of meetings where at first I think initially I might say, well, damn, I don't really belong in here. But then you're like,
I always felt like I belonged.
I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
They because when I'm talking, they listening.
Yeah.
Once you start to realize, oh, they listening, it's for a reason.
Yeah. And I know for a fact ain't nobody gonna outwork me.
Ever.
So for me, that confidence drives me. Like, whatever I don't know, is the book out there. I taught myself how to be a woman. So I know I'm gonna figure whatever else out.
I think my insecurities fuel that because traditionally I didn't feel so highly about myself.
Okay.
So now I don't. Now I think I'm the joke. I think I'm the bid.
Yeah.
Don't make me the bid. Whoever's listening, you know who I'm talking to. But so instead, I would overcompensate. I would work harder than everybody. When everybody else sleeping and relaxing, I'm up studying.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, what if he asks me this? What I'm gonna say? What's this? Because I just want to be overly prepared.
Yes.
So I get what you're talking about, that pressure. Kristina, every week we do a segment called Moment of Silence. So this is real quick. I just want a special heartfelt shout out to all the people in Jacksonville. Another senseless shooting of black people. I mean, I don't know what other way to put it. They switch the words up, the terminology, but at the end of the day, it's just mass execution. It's domestic terrorism. It's real terrorism that we felt and experienced in this country for 400, 500, 600 years.
Yes.
And really, when you talk about neo-colonialism all over the world, people from European descent have been going to countries with black and brown people all over the world. Absolutely. Torturing them, killing them, and taking over.
Yes.
And it doesn't stop then, and it didn't stop in Jacksonville. So, you saw the news, a gentleman, I don't even want to call him a gentleman, some guy, some animal, goes past one location, black security guard, tell him you gotta get up out of here. So he goes to another location. Determined. Put on his gear and went in there and killed, I believe, about 4 people. One gentleman, he ran out to separate himself from his wife, get some distance. So he was killed, but the wife survived. I don't know if this is ever going to end. It feels like it won't. We dealing with wars on so many fronts. We battling each other. We battling them. We battling this. We battling that. and it's exhausting. And anyway, so for the people that lost, for the whole city of Jacksonville, moment of silence. All right, let me ask you a question. Real question. You know, when this happens, they say a racially motivated shooting. Now, before they was calling this mass shootings, remember? Oh, mass shooting. And then they started saying any little shooting was a mass shooting.
Yep.
Somebody is a shootout around the way. It was a mass shooting in Philadelphia.
We had one in Baltimore.
They started to say this term over and over again so it would lose the weight it had when it was done towards us.
Yes.
Now it's not a mass shooting, it's a racially motivated. We believe it was racially motivated. You fucking right. You killed the store full of black guys.
Act?
Why not terroristic act? Because watch this, if Bin Laden come over here and kill 4 or 5 people, this is a terroristic act.
Yep.
Why is it not when it's some George from down the street? You know, some Trumper or whatever. I'm not getting into politics, but do you think that they've used these certain terms, these keywords, so much to intentionally neutralize the effect in the media?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm director of communications at my job. I'm a writer.
Shit.
I'm a reader. Like
Right.
Words mean everything, and words mean nothing. But I think that the media has always been the most powerful tool ever. Like media controls the narrative.
Yeah.
And they know the words that they use. They
Propaganda.
Know it's all propaganda. The Holocaust was started through propaganda.
Yeah.
Slavery was continued through propaganda. Like it's all been propaganda.
Yeah.
And they are very, very intentional about the words that they use. They use words that fit whatever narrative they're trying to portray. And that's been since the beginning of time.
So since you're in that field, is it too much to, conspiracy theorists, we don't know if there's some people sitting in the room saying we're going to all say, because watch, if you Google racially motivated, whatever, you'll see these same words, these same terms. It's almost like they sent the email out to everybody everywhere, say use this.
Yeah.
Use this.
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch the news for a 24-hour span and you'll see the same terms, like almost like programming.
Yeah.
Is there some meeting somewhere where some guy says this is what we're going to say, or how does it work?
I don't know that there's a meeting that takes place. However, I know that there are a very small group of people that own all of the media companies.
Right.
So whether that's by meeting, by email, or whatever, it's all coming from the same group thought kind of experience, or coming from the same brain, if you will. So I definitely think that there's a collective vision and plan that is developed years in advance.
Right.
Like we got to understand that. I'm gonna be mindful of saying enemy a lot, but we got to understand that the people we're dealing with plan generations ahead.
Yeah.
So it's not for them. It might not be for their kids. It's for their grandkids, their great-great-grandkids. So how can I plant the seeds that my great-great-great-great-grandchildren can benefit from? And I believe that everything is scripted and everything is planned.
Yeah.
And I mean, even me being in studios, I'm almost in a new studio almost every week for my job. And they reading. Everybody's reading.
Yeah.
Nobody's like doing what you're doing and freestyling and it's organic. That's too dangerous.
Yeah.
To have people go off their own brain and their own ideas.
Yeah. But and we still put structure to it and things like that, but it's just weird, man. I noticed that they never show, if Lil Jaquan or somebody does something, we'll know all about how he was arrested 15 years ago for smoking a joint, traffic ticket.
Brown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, we know that Trayvon Martin was smoking weed. He was talking to his girlfriend coming back from 7-Eleven.
Yep.
Right? I'm smoking weed right now, and I'm not beating nobody up, killing them, or robbing them, right? And that's the importance of me smoking on this show while talking about this stuff. Because I want you to know that they lied to you.
Yeah.
That shit that the guys, I'm scratching my arms and my ass, and I'm sounding like a coon and a monkey. That's bullshit.
Yep.
That's not really what life is. Just because somebody has a drink or has a smoke or come from this area, don't necessarily mean that they a certain type of person.
Yeah.
But it's all media.
Definitely. Because I'm Pan-Africanist.
Yeah,
like I believe in going back to Africa or anywhere that's outside of America.
Speaking of going back to Africa, Your man Trump, Trump just got indicted for the 4th time in Georgia. Shout out to the DA in Georgia. She not playing no games
at all.
Do you think this? I mean, no, you are in the politic world a little bit, communications, right?
Yep.
Do you think that this is about clout for her, attention, or is she the real deal?
No, I think that there's still some people who feel like they have a job to do.
Yeah.
And they're going to do their job regardless of who you are, how big your bag is. I feel, and also, of course, you want to have a legacy for sure. You're thinking about that. Absolutely. You couldn't do your job if you weren't thinking about your future.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are still some people who feel like this is my job and I don't care who you are. People been pacifying you all this time. Whether she thinks it's going to go anywhere or not, she'll go down in history as the person who did at least that part.
As somebody who's in the field, do you think that they'll use this? For sure, I think they will. But do you think they'll try to use this as some sort of rallying cry for his supporters?
Oh yeah, because they've always tried to victimize him.
Yeah,
they want to be oppressed so bad. So it's like, here's another example of now, now he's oppressed. Like
I'm just like y'all. I'm just like y'all.
He did time, and a lot of people will give him clout for having been locked up.
Why are they so scared of black women in politics right now? I mean, they petrified.
Because black women, when we're in a room, when we're in a space, when we are involved in anything, it changes. We give life to everything.
Yeah, but what happened to what's my girl? She the vice president. I'm saying, what's my girl name? Kamala Harris. We ain't seen her since she had the hot sauce and talk about Howard University. Where has she been?
I'm asking that same question.
Yeah.
So my page is private.
Okay.
Because it goes back to, I'm not changing who I am. I'm not silencing myself because of my job or because of whatever. I have very radical views on certain things.
Okay.
And I don't want to not be able to speak my mind about certain things on my page.
Perfect.
So I've always been vocal about Democrats, Republicans, whoever. None of that matters to me.
Yeah.
It's about what you have done, what your track record shows. If you keep showing me that you're a certain type of person, that's it.
Yeah.
It ain't really, I don't care what gang you with. If you keep showing yourself to be a certain way, that's what I'm gonna believe you are.
That's hard. Okay, so boom. Let me ask. Okay.
In politics.
Because
your track record.
Okay.
Is what we should be voting on.
Yeah.
We should be coming with demands. What have you done for us in your lifetime? You've had enough time to show who you are.
Yeah.
And we get amnesia when it's time to vote.
It's hard because, let's just say in a lot of facets, women, particularly black and brown women, we never seen this much exposure and this much control.
Yes.
And for years, right, it was all male chauvinist this and sexualizing us that and y'all this and that. And as soon as the women get the power, every song is pussy, pussy, pussy. Where the money at? I got more pussy, pussy, pussy for you. Where the more money at? Give me some. I mean, goddamn. We got 15 female rappers or whatever, #1 hits, and all of them selling pussy.
It goes back to media and image.
Okay, but what you mean? We got Rhapsodies out here. Why isn't Rhapsody on #1 on WPGC?
The big machines are behind a certain group of women that's promoting a certain message.
Oh,
that's it. Again, it goes back to those same few people that own all the companies.
Yeah.
So
they telling them, hey, go out there and say this.
Stokely Carmichael has said, if I listen to him all the time.
I love Stokely.
He's one of my favorite leaders. And he talks about how capitalism drives everything. It drives the media, it drives the music, it drives everything. And there's a benefit to keeping us fucking and out of in poverty and all those things. Like there's a benefit to America for us to be in that state.
Did you hear Meek Mill recently say that they are incentivizing rappers to, I mean, this is stuff that people knew, but they incentivizing rappers to talk more about violence and talk more about this and that, and then they'll give them more?
I believe it.
So do you think the same is happening with the women?
Absolutely.
Are they overtly saying sell ass your music, or are they just saying, hey, if you get this amount of clicks, we'll give you this bonus?
I think they're exploiting a mindset that exists,
Yeah.
right? Because of systematic oppression.
Okay.
So you'll go to a Sexy Red or whoever who just naturally is in that. Like when we in the trap, we there.
That's
like
just what it is.
That's just our mindset, right? They know that because they've studied us.
Absolutely.
They know us better than we know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go to somebody who need to feed her family, need to feed her children, they know her weaknesses. They know all of these artists' weaknesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a manipulator. I'm going to play into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this bag, but this is what your people want. And how can she argue with what the people want? Because we as the consumers, that's what we like.
Yeah.
That's what we like. Whether we think it's entertainment or not, she like, oh yeah, if I sing more about this, they going to love me. I'm going to feed my kids.
Let me ask you a question. You're a beautiful woman. How
Thank
important is it to be, no problem, how important is it to be seen as more than that though?
Oh, I think it depends on a woman. Like for me, growing up, all women want love. That's just period.
I think all people want love.
Yeah, all people. I don't care what we say. Don't nobody want to be lonely and unloved, right? But I think that some of us have gone through phases where we've used different things to get love. Like growing up as a teenager because of my own trauma, I thought sex was that thing. Like I could make somebody fall in love with me through sex. I could make somebody stay with me and love me based on how good we have sex. Yeah. And so I think that all of us have our different things. But for me, because I was sexually assaulted and molested and, have gone through those types of things, I have always wanted to be, as I got older, I wanted to be respected for more than what I look like.
Right.
Because in some ways, I blamed what I looked like for people wanting to do things to me, for people wanting to hurt me. I felt like a target because from the time I used to be walking with my dad, people would be like, oh, she's so cute, you're going to need a shotgun when she get older and all of that.
And we think that type of shit is cute to say.
Yeah, like, oh, she's so pretty, you're going to have to keep the boys off of her. I'm hearing this at 6, 7, 8 years old.
So it's embedded.
It's embedded in my mind. Like, or my aunt taking me around Trinidad and all these places with my report card and the guys, the old heads giving her money or giving me money, pinching my cheek, rubbing my hair and all of that. Like, I've gone through that all of my life. And so I've tried to be the opposite of that. That's why I work so hard, trying to prove I'm smart. Like, look at my thoughts and hear my voice and hear my ideas before you look at me. See me. Really see me.
It's important to be seen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question while we here. Describe, if you can, growing up in D.C., Chocolate City in the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s. Everybody speak about it ain't the same. Paint that picture for us about how it was. You can tell me some differences between what it is now, but just kind of paint that picture for us of growing up, uptown, you said, 14th Street, all around.
Yep.
Just paint that picture for us.
So I was born in 82.
Okay.
By the time I was born, everybody in my family was on drugs.
Shit, me.
Grandma, dad, mother, aunts, uncles, every single person in my immediate
Weed
family.
or the real shit?
Crack.
Okay.
My mother was a heroin addict. My grandmother was on crack. My father, my uncles, all my grandmother's children except one.
Because you're born right in the middle of the crack epidemic.
Born right in the middle. And I used to hear stories about them literally dropping it off in cars, just leaving it for them to have access to it. But my grandmother was also a legend.
Okay.
She worked at Floyd Avenue Grill for 36 years.
I love Florida Avenue Grill.
I'm named after her. My middle name is Ophelia. She was Ophelia Jones.
Yes.
She demanded respect. She had political friends and pimp friends and janitor friends.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but if y'all don't know, Florida Avenue Grill is legendary.
Yeah.
This where listen, and I know every city got their drug dealer stories.
Yep.
Nobody was fucking with DC.
Nobody.
If you look at Mitch, this one, that one, this one, they all was 100,000. We had, these niggas was hundreds of millions.
Yep.
In 86, 87, hundreds of millions of dollars. These niggas, I love all the movies, Paid in Full and all of that. Can't piss.
Nope.
On what we was doing here.
Facts.
Now you could Google it. You could Google it.
Yep.
We ain't got no famous rappers who done made the movies yet.
Right.
But you could Google what it was.
Yep.
So what you're saying is, when you're coming of age, not even that, but still as a toddler, damn near, your family is entrenched in this.
Yep. And my grandmother fed them.
Yeah.
My grandmother was feeding her. One of her closest friends was Marionberry.
Okay.
She feeding Marionberry. She feeding all the drug dealers.
Marionberry high shit coming in there.
Cadoza right across the street. All the children going to Cadoza. They coming over there.
Yeah.
So she instilled something in me that even though I am a waitress, I have respect. Like all the
and I'm taking care of everybody.
They one of the characters in Taxi Cab is after her. Is modeled after her. Like my grandmother.
When did she stop there?
She stopped working there. She couldn't walk anymore. So, like in the 90s,
man, she had to maybe some hash browns before something.
And she would cuss you out and love you and kiss on you, all in the same. People loved her. Without her, there would be no Full Dad.
Hello,
and they know that. The Wilsons and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
They've done little clips on YouTube about her.
Okay.
So I got to live with her. I got to watch my grandmother raise 7 children off of her.
Right.
Salary, her tips in Floyd Avenue Grill.
Okay.
Like that says a lot about how much money she was making and the connections that she had.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then I was raised by my father. So he was an anomaly in the hood because he was the only father around, really. And my mother wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I was already in this weird space where I'm being raised by my father.
What was your mother?
She was a heroin addict.
Okay.
And so when I was about 5, my father decided that he was the best fit to raise me. Otherwise, I would have went to go live with my grandmother around Montana. But he chose to raise me in Uptown.
Okay.
We lived with my grandmother off and on, depending on when we got evicted or not. That would determine. But my house was basically like the crack house.
Yeah.
Like my grandmother people wanted to be around her.
Yeah.
But they just happened to be getting high together.
Okay.
So I would go downstairs. They'd be all around my living room, my dining room, kitchen, all of that getting high. I would come downstairs. They would hide it. And
this was normal to you?
Yeah, it was normal.
Okay. So you didn't know this was wrong, taboo, nothing?
No.
Or did you feel it, sense it?
So I felt that my father changed after he would be downstairs. Like everybody's face would be all twisted. They'd be chewing on their tongues. I'd be looking under the cabinet looking for something, and I'd find a little can that was bent because they done used the can to get
Smoke
high.
it up,
Yeah, then I started noticing, like, all the hustlers would be like, where your grandmother at? Where your father at? Asking me, like, where they at? And I'd be like, why all these people want to know where my... But as I grew up, I started to realize, like, they owe people money. We ain't never have, like, food and lights off, all that type of stuff. So, but at the same time, we had so much love and so much fun. We laughed a lot. We listened to music a lot. We ate at the table together every night, like a family.
Do those memories balance it out for you in your head?
It does. Because
some people hear this shit, be like, "Oh, it's terrible. It's traumatic."
I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
I would not. I wish that my family would have lived longer. Like drugs really took them out, literally.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I learned so much
Everybody's
from their
gone?
resilience. Everybody's gone. My grandmother has 7 children. There's 1 left, including my dad. He was the oldest. My grandmother passed. But I learned so much from them. Like, people still say my grandmother's name today. From her, I learned I learned how to handle myself in the political world. Yeah. Thinking, like, she's my ancestor. I made her coffee this morning, put it on my altar. Yeah. Like, I call on her all the time. And I don't judge her for I don't know her life before she decided to use drugs.
Right.
I don't know what it feel like to get high off crack with your kids and what would drive you to do that. Yeah. I don't know what that's like, and I don't pretend to know my grandmother's story because she is a woman. Yeah. She may have gone through stuff.
I just don't think they knew. Like, now you see guys, they smoke, they popping pills, perk 30s, this and that.
Yep.
They don't know this is heroin.
Yep.
I mean, this is you turning into a drug addict.
Yep.
I used to drink a lot of lean. A lot of lean. Like, I'm talking about, I had a Kool-Aid cooler thing in my refrigerator full of lean.
Wow.
Like a pitcher full of lean. This was every day.
Yeah.
And you a dope fiend.
Yeah.
Cause when I try to kick it, my kidneys is hurt. I'm throwing up in the middle of Litos.
Yeah.
Right? This is a drug. I mean, this is real. It tastes good. You put candy in it, but this is real.
Yep. And one of the things I learned from even watching Snowfall, how they didn't really understand the effect that it was going to have on their community. Like, I'm pretty sure when my grandmother and them first hit it, They weren't thinking they was going to now be abandoning their children.
Ain't no way.
And smoking up our food for the week and
Ain't
all
no
of that.
way.
Yeah, so...
we used to smoke K too.
Yeah.
That's the probation pack we used to call it. That's the PO pack.
Right.
Now they zombies off of this shit.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. You've been in Baltimore. You've been all around. You travel. You well traveled.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice a substantial difference in the violence and the climate in urban America right now? Is it like some people say, oh, it's always been like this, or for you it's noticeably different right now?
I think what we need to ask ourselves is, how come every major city, particularly Democrat-run black cities, urban cities, how come we all suffering the same disease?
That's a fact. Because notice I didn't say D.C. How is D.C. different?
Chicago, I met with the mayor with the mayor's team of Chicago. We had a meeting. I'm in Baltimore. I've been in D.C.
Alabama, Philadelphia.
Every single urban city across this country is going through the same thing.
Genocide.
It's going through the same thing.
Yeah.
You can't
There's no
tell
coincidence.
me
Yeah.
that that's a coincidence. I don't care.
But to you, I'm talking about you growing up in the thick of this shit, right? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about grandma, your pops, the family friends. So you seeing it so much that you know what it look like. You know, like the back of your hand, right? Is this noticeably different right now?
So I think
they got a sound, they got a look, this is a thing right now.
So I remember back in the day, I went to so many funerals, and back then we would collect obituaries, right?
I still do.
We'd collect obituaries. We used to collect Moet bottles. So my whole bedroom was like a shrine. Moet bottles everywhere, obituaries everywhere. And one day my father was like, "You're not going to no more funerals," because I've been to too many. But I think the difference in what I see now and what it was back then is that it wasn't as much randomized crimes. I see a lot of every crime is senseless. Every murder is senseless, right?
This shit just.
But I feel like there is a lot of women at the gas station where the kids get shot up.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember that growing up.
Right.
I don't remember so much. Even when I lived in LA for a while, I didn't see a lot of drive-bys and just randomized. Like now it just feels so like, why? And I think that the drugs play a part in it. Back then, we had a few dudes who might have been on coke or did a little blow or something like that. But now I think the drugs, the PTSD, all the mental health stuff kicking in, I feel like all of that is playing a part.
And there's no emotional
the types of killings, and the amount of killings.
They crashing out.
Absolutely.
I seen some guys in the alleyway by my building last night, try to rob a guy. The guy pulled out a pistol. Now these kids are in the alleyway stuck.
Yep.
Moonwalking they happy ass back in that car.
Yep.
Because if you can see, from my back, I'm sitting there frozen watching this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's about to be a bloodbath right here in front of me.
Yep.
Right, this is every day.
Even the video games, I thought, man, ain't nobody killing nobody because of no video games.
Shit, me.
Until I had to realize, if you sitting there on that video
all
game,
day.
like people getting points in real life. Like
I watched Tupac all day. I'm 40 years old. I got my middle finger up every picture saying, you know what I'm saying? This shit is conditions programming.
Technology came too fast.
I seen you talk about the difference between a second chance and a last chance. Break that down for me.
I think I believe in chances. I believe that we have an opportunity. I'm so thankful for chances. I'm so thankful that God gives us enough grace to let us try again, because it goes back to mindset. Who I was at 20, 30, 15, 12, 10 is not who I am now.
Right.
But I think that understanding that, especially when you get off the hook, sometimes you feel like you've been off the hook and you get these second and third chances, that you don't ever imagine your last chance. We can't even fathom when that last chance is going to be. So for me, I just try to make sure that I feel like every chance, this is my last chance. This really might be my last chance to get this right. Well,
part of your message, from what I see, part of your messaging, I won't say your message, but part of your messaging is always about elevation and evolution. How important is recreating yourself and recreating even your surroundings if you have to? Just talk about reinventing yourself and how important that is for you, but just for all of us as well.
I think because of where we come from, and that's all that we see, that we think that that's it.
Yeah.
And so my biggest
That's real.
life lesson was being able to dream and sit by myself a lot and imagine what I could do and what I could be. Like I just feel like if every kid, like even when we think about religion and we go back to words, we're told we're born sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if we're told from the time we were born winners, we born kings, we born queens, we
Right.
born, like, words matter. What we tell ourselves matter. So if I stopped at Chrissy, who was sleeping around as a 12, 13 years old, you know, out here at the parties all the time and like sleeping in the hallway.
Yeah.
Chrissy with the crackhead father, or Chris, you know.
Right.
If I stopped there, I wouldn't be sitting right here.
How do you get out your own way? Some people, you know, they can't get out their own way trying to evolve.
I think it's all about and that's why exposure is so important. Even if it might be a school teacher. I've had several teachers literally save my life. My father has left me at school and I've had to spend a night with teachers.
Yeah.
So for me, I've kept, Miss Dr. Baxter got a house. Like, she got an actual job. Like, she got a pantry. I picked up little things and I realized I might be able to do that one day. And I never left that. When I was walking to school all the way to Georgetown from Uptown because they ain't had money for the bus, I would see people getting in their cars with their briefcases, and I'd be like, I wonder what they do. They got jobs. They got a house.
Did all of this observation of which you don't have these things, did this lead to you spiraling out at a young age? You talked about different abuse that you suffered as an adolescent. How did it ever come to a head in your younger years?
Oh yeah, I think so. We love the way that we've been loved, right? So we're taught how to love by the people. They not only teach us our ABCs and all of that, we get our cues on how love should feel from the people that are around us. So if my first sexual experience is one that's forced, is one that I shared with the adults in my family because my first instinct was to tell somebody and nothing was done about it, then that makes me feel like my body is not valuable.
Right.
So I move forward with that. Like, that's how I now start to view, like, oh, well, they ain't make a big deal out of it, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it.
Was the abuse, the initial abuse, was that something that happened internal with family?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I was 7. I had a cousin who was about 14, and he molested me, and my father and I went to Children's Hospital, hopped in a cab, and all I just remember is like the doctor saying like there was no penetration. Yeah. So we minimized it. Like, because there was no penetration, everything fine. We ain't never gonna talk about this no more. He didn't get a beating. He didn't get kicked. In my mind, my little mind, I was like, he should at least get punished.
Something,
you know. But none of that happened. So when I was sexually assaulted at 13, I didn't tell the police. I didn't. Who I'm gonna tell? Because when I first told, I was silenced.
Yeah, no, and it's normalized now.
It's normalized, and in our community, girls was getting raped all the time. Yeah, that wasn't. We didn't even really have words for it back then. So, you know, it confused my sexuality. Okay. It confused what I thought about myself. And then we use words like her innocence was stolen. Yeah. So then it goes back to these words where now I'm dirty and I'm not innocent no more. Yeah. So fuck it.
You're victim for life at that point.
If I'm dealing with somebody and he want to have sex right now, we're going to have sex right now. Go. Yeah, like.
And see, and a lot of guys here, they like, well, she easy. She ready to go whole time.
Yep. And a lot of men don't want to realize or accept, because their feelings and their pride would be hurt, that they have gotten ass off of women's trauma.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it ain't that you so fly or you so cool or you got game.
She just felt like she had no other choice.
She just really don't know her worth.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't really, you can say whatever and you might get it, but that has nothing to do with you.
So you talked about being a survivor of suicide. 13, 7. When did the suicide come into play?
I was 17,
Okay.
and I was going to Eastern Senior High.
Okay.
We had moved to Northeast, like right after the sexual assault happened. I was wise enough to know, all right, I need to change my environment. I'm going to go live with my grandmother.
So you asked somebody, I need to
Back then we didn't really have space.
Yeah.
So it was like wherever I could fit, I would just go live there.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go live with my grandmother again. And I was going to Eastern. And then my father decided, because there was no space at my grandmother's house, that I should go live with my mother, who was clean now, living around 58th, had her house or whatever. And so I went to live with her, and we didn't really know. I felt grown at that time. Like,
Right.
I'm working, I've been outside.
Right.
So it's really not a lot you could tell me, but I live with her. And at the time I was in a relationship with a female who was abusive and had already been in a relationship with a male who was abusive. And so I just really felt like I keep meeting the same, like, maybe it's me. Maybe if I'm not here, I'm stressing my father out.
Like you started to feel like you deserve it.
Yeah, I just started to feel like, man, it's so much darkness in my life. I can't get a break. Like, everywhere I go, it's just...
Must be me.
It got to be me. And if I'm not here, the world might be a better place.
Do you remember the day that you decided to kill yourself? Tell me about that day.
It was a sunny day. I had gotten up. Mind you, I'm 12th grade. I had just won Biggest Heartbreaker at Eastern. So
Biggest
I'm popular.
Heartbreaker?
Yes.
So you the shit.
I think they made that up. I don't even know. I don't even know if that
Ain't
was a
nobody
category.
make that shit up.
I don't even know if that was a real category, right?
Yeah.
So maybe because I was gay and I wasn't really feeling the dudes, or I don't know where that came from.
Gay.
But so I was popular. I had a lot going for me.
Okay.
I ain't had no problem finding friends. I always had a job or had money, or had some type of means to just fuck around, go outside, go to the go-go, all of
Live.
that.
Yeah.
But I was also on Zoloft.
Shit.
Because I had been in therapy. My father did have the wisdom to put me in therapy from I was probably about like 9, but I wasn't talking about nothing.
You would just go.
Yeah, but I would just go, and I felt it was at the YMCA on W Street, and we ain't accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
And so, my father felt like I should try medication. The doctors convinced him that, like, to take her edge off, she should take Zoloft.
That Zoloft shit had you like a zombie just sitting there stuck.
And at that time, when I became older, I looked back during that time, they had found that Zoloft was causing episodes in young people to either hurt other people or hurt themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 2 times that I've ever taken medication, I've snapped. So I feel like that morning that I woke up, I was having some sort of episode. And so I just remember sitting on the edge of my bed. I fully got dressed for school, let everybody leave my house, and I just took a handful of pills.
Shit.
Just took them, and I just sat there.
Conscious of what you was
like
doing.
I was
You
watching
knew what you was
myself.
doing.
Yeah, it was like I was watching myself. A girlfriend of mine, back then we used to borrow clothes from each other. She came over, and before this, I must have forgotten that I told her that she could come over, but she came over. She found me and called the ambulance, and then I ended up being admitted to. So I woke up. I had blacked out. I woke up. I was in Washington Hospital Center, and they were putting tubes up my nose and down my throat. It was the worst pain ever. That's enough to make you not want to.
Like a ventilator?
No, it was a tube because they had to pump tar in my stomach.
They gotta get up out of
to
there.
get the poison out.
But so then after that, I know enough to know what they do after that, right? Is that they put you like in like a mental asylum type shit, right?
I went to PIW.
That's PIW.
On Wisconsin Avenue.
And so I've been in PIW. If you never been describe that experience, because a lot of times, like for instance, when I was in there, I wasn't in there for myself. One of my kids called itself I'm crazy. I'm suicidal.
Yep.
And now you're in there with people who really don't have shit bouncing around up there.
Yes. Yep. Freaked me out. First night, I had to lay on a cot and wide open lights like this. Just lay out. And for somebody who's been sexually assaulted, you got the males
Oh my God.
at the front desk, a grown man sitting there, and I'm just asleep on this cot. So it was already, they had a padded room in there. I'm in there with boys who like having sex with their baby sisters. But then you have somebody that's just smoking weed too much, and now his family put him in there. It was a wild dynamic. I felt like, I never do this again, let me out.
Right there, scared straight.
I never do this again. You ain't never got to worry about me again. Like, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm
Let
saved.
me out.
I'm delivered.
I'm in there with a girl from the Philippines. I can't have my pen to write my poems no more.
Because you might stab
She's trying to kill herself every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we in a room. I'm looking out the window, looking at the Wilson kids live a normal life, going to the metro and all of that shit. And I'm like, how did I end up here?
Are you into art?
Yes.
Vincent Van Gogh painted Starry Night from a mental asylum.
I didn't know that.
It's a fact.
I didn't know that.
Looking out that
and there's this
motherfucker.
book called Veronica Must Die by Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
Phenomenal book. It talks about like who's really the insane people in the world.
So I want to hold off on this part, but you went to you're a writer.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite writer? I heard you talk about France earlier. I heard you talking about Stokely.
Yes. So
Eldridge Cleaver, maybe. So I know you.
Yes, I read
okay,
Solo on Ice.
Yeah, come on, talk that.
A lot of women got a shoe collection. I have a book collection.
Nice.
Like every place I've lived, my book's gonna have to come with me.
Okay.
Like that's I'm obsessed with my books.
Who is your favorite writer?
Favorite writer. I would say Coelho has really opened my mind because he writes in an imaginative way, but it be real deep. And Veronica Must Die kind of made me feel normal, made me feel like a normal person. Also, like the 5 People You Meet in Heaven. Like I read a lot of self-help books too because I work on myself.
And you've written a self-help book.
Yes.
Tell me about your decision to write. So your self-help book was, so you got 3, right? The poetry book, self-help book, and you have your novel.
Yes.
Now your novel you self-published.
Yeah, I self-published all of them.
All 3 of them. Okay. Tell me a little bit about, but what was first, the self-help?
The first book was a book of poetry.
Okay.
Because a girlfriend of mine in Easton was like, because I tried to be a little weirdo and mind my business, but people gravitated towards me.
Right.
And she was like, girl, you need to publish these. You need to do something. Back then, it was no like, people weren't publishing no books.
No.
So that was the first one. That was called Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow.
Right.
And that was just about evolution.
And that one is free. Tomorrow. Is that free on Amazon? One of them is free. The Kindle book is free. You can
download it for free on Amazon.
Or you could spend the money.
Yep.
Like I did and order that thing.
And I was so young when I wrote it. I was so honest. Yeah. I was just really just an observer,
raw,
just spitting out stuff that I was seeing. I was also becoming a Christian at that time.
Okay.
Another evolution.
Praise Jesus.
Yep. I was becoming a little baby holy roller.
Yeah.
And so that was the first one, and then my novel, Dirty Roses.
Hold up on Dirty Roses. Let me ask you a question. You're very transparent, right? Clearly, you've been in therapy, right?
Yes.
People always say, Floyd, I've been in therapy a long time, so we get used to just, we say it. It don't have, it doesn't necessarily have the same power.
No.
But that don't mean we are relieved of these things, right? So do you feel like you have survived, or do you still have these triggers and PTSD? Like, for what I know, I mean, abuse, you might get through it. You get through it. Yeah. But there's scars that people don't see.
Oh yeah. And since moving to Baltimore, I didn't realize how much your environment impacts you. Like I've been in DC, and the person who sexually assaulted me ended up on the same train card as me.
Right there with you.
I've had to do an event with the mayor, and I'm working directly across from the building that I was sexually assaulted in, and still have to do my job and still have to show up.
Jesus Christ.
So your environment impacts a lot of your PTSD, and we don't realize that. Where you got shot at, where you shot somebody at, where you where you found your mother at a bus stop at. Like all of that, you got to keep seeing that all the time. DC not that big.
Not at all.
So I feel like I've healed from a lot. Like I prayed for the people that did stuff to me. I have no ill intent. I want the kids to grow. I hope they're not touching nobody else. Like,
You still go to therapy?
I have a session tomorrow at 10:30.
So it's more like maintenance now.
More like maintenance.
Not responding to
Yeah,
something.
I
maintenance.
scheduled this appointment because I've been working so hard.
How did, in your opinion, the assaults affect your psyche as a young girl?
It definitely did. Like, it just made me numb.
Yeah.
And I still do so my PTSD shows up in defense mode.
Okay.
Like, if I don't argue with people, I'm probably the first to swing on you. Like, if I feel like I'm backed into a corner, I've made a promise to myself I'm never gonna let nobody hurt me.
I was abused. Mm-hmm. And so I get that.
Yeah.
I get you not coming nowhere near
Yeah.
me. I'm not even gonna wait
Even
to see.
playfully, I don't know how to play fight.
Yeah.
I don't want you.
I don't want you to tickle me. None of that shit.
Unless we're in the bedroom, don't put your hands on my
Don't
neck.
put me-
Don't
yeah.
touch. Don't put me in no headlock. Don't play. I don't play. I can't
No,
play
that's
like
real.
that. Yeah.
And we don't often talk about that stuff, like, so I can relate to that. I went to therapy. They mandated me to.
Okay.
The lady said, "You, sir," she said she had a chart. And she said, on one end you got Charles Manson. And on the other end you got Dr. Martin Luther King. She said, "You, sir, and no Dr. Martin Luther King." I said, God damn, man. I got kicked out of DC public schools, and they said to come back, you got to go to a therapist.
Okay.
And she signed off to not let this nigga back in school. So after that, it kind of left a bad taste pause in my mouth about, like, how you gonna tell me that?
Yeah.
You think I don't know I fucked up? I fucked up. I'm a kid, though.
Yep.
You got me feeling like, you put these,
Yeah.
what do you feel about these titles they put, bipolar? She told me she had a whole book, and she said, checked off these boxes, you're a manic depressive, which they call bipolar now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I'm 14.
Yeah.
I'm not manic depressive. I'm smoking weed. My parents done broke up. My family is all over the place. I'm staying at grandma's house, auntie house, this house, that house, this house. I'm selling drugs. I'm 14. I'm not bipolar. I'm just
normal.
fucked up out here. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now that you done told me I'm bipolar, now that you done told me something wrong with me, now I'm living the rest of my life feeling like something wrong with me.
Yep.
Damn, do they know I'm bipolar?
Yep.
Damn, do they know I'm crazy? Do they know I'm fucked up?
And you
They
can't
know?
even identify your normal emotions because now you're attributing everything to
Yeah,
that.
to some shit they read in the book.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
God damn, man.
Yeah, those labels are definitely. I'm big on, even when I say my depression, I try not to claim all of that as mine.
What would 40-year-old you tell that 17-year-old you? Like, if you had 5 minutes in the elevator, less than 5 minutes in the elevator, and you just get on the elevator, you see you at 17 the day before you about to take them pills.
I would definitely say you matter. And you can do anything you want, and it sounds cliche, but I promise you, baby girl, it's just hold on, just hold on a little while longer, and you're gonna recognize your power, and you can do anything you want in this world. You're a woman, a black woman. You are God. Like imagine, like just trust
It would be that.
me
It would
right
be that
now.
desperate.
It would be like, please, you matter.
Please.
That's why a lot of my posts I end with, "You matter." Like, people need to know that they matter here.
Tell me about your decision to take your experiences and work with young women, not just young women, young adults, period, really communities, but specifically the work you do with young women.
Because I realized once people started to see me visibly change, like I had a physical change in people's eyes. Yeah, I ain't even noticed it. Like, you glowing now, or you're more outspoken, you're more
They can see it.
outgoing, you're more positive. Like, even working in politics, I had signs everywhere. My house feel like a vibe when you walk in. How did you do that would be the question. Like, how did you be, like, so they could see the physical transformation. So I started to realize, like, not everybody can do this.
Right.
A lot of my friends have gone through exactly what I've gone through. I'm not special, but they have not figured out the formula of how to get out of it.
You don't think you're special? I believe there's an 85%. I believe there's a 10%. I believe there's a 5%.
I definitely think that we're all special. My story is not special.
Okay.
My story is not unique, I guess I should
Right.
say, because I have friends that have gone through way different experiences, and I feel like I couldn't have even gone through that. But we all, and a lot of us don't realize what we're using to cope to get through those things. I just happen to be more expressive with my mental health.
Yeah.
And I choose to be that way because I want to break the stigma around it.
Definitely a stigma.
Like there's a stigma around what depression is supposed to look like.
Facts.
Or whatever. And so I feel like the more I am open about mine, that people could be like, oh, okay, she looked like she got it going on, but she does have depression. And look how she's getting through that.
Do you come across, is it all peachy when you're doing the mentoring, or do you come across some heartbreaks in that?
No, it's definitely some heartbreaks. Like I'm super transparent, and my story is so heavy. I try not to like offload it on people. I try to use illustrations. Like I have this thing called The Things We Carry, where I put all these bags on, these Louis bags, these Gucci bags, and I put all this on, and I let women know this is the spiritual, physical, and mental. This is what we look like in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Carrying all this shit around that we have from being a child. You don't even know that you don't have good relationships with women because of your relationship with your mother. We haven't quite been able to connect those dots. So I felt like it's like Sankofa. I have to go back.
Yeah.
I have to go back. God don't want me to just survive. He want me to figure out how to help my sister survive.
So is that where writing the novel Dirty Roses,
Dirty Roses.
is that where that comes into place? Because I noticed that in that novel, you don't put real names. You kind of switch some stuff up, but it's based in reality.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that your way of kind of like telling y'all story or
Yes.
reaching a certain demographic that maybe you can't reach any other way?
Dirty Roses had to get out of me.
Okay.
Like Dirty Roses had to, some of those characters, I just had to give them a page to get outside of my body and outside of my mind.
Right.
Just things, I've lived so many lives, I've gone through so many things. There's so many people that have been influential in my life that they needed to get out of me. Like you can't tell your therapist about that or just sit around with your homegirls and keep talking about it.
No.
I needed to bring them to life and also pay homage to some of them.
What's the difference between the survivor and the victim?
I think a victim hasn't really realized their power yet.
Shit. Okay.
I think that's the only difference. The victim, I'm definitely not a victim of sexual assault. I think when you call yourself a victim, you haven't figured out your next step. You haven't figured out the power that you have.
And like you said, it's all about the power of the words.
Yes.
Telling your own story. How important is telling your own story?
Oh, it's key because you are the one who experienced it. Nobody's gonna really tell it like you can.
Yeah.
It's like somebody writing a song for you. You could sing it, but the person who wrote it, like it's the perfect lyrics with the perfect artist.
Yeah.
But that artist happens to be yourself.
Closing, I do want to ask you before we go. You know, we talked about imposter syndrome, but you know that's with success. But with surviving comes survivor's remorse, survivor's guilt.
Oh yeah.
Do you experience those things?
I have not experienced survivor's guilt, but what I have experienced is people who have gone through the same things as me thinking that I was just lucky. Or like,
shit,
it was just the luck of the draw for you. I don't know how to get out of this. And so a part of my work and going back and showing women like, yeah, you can. Like we was in the same hood and the same experience and jumping out the same cars and the same shit. Like we really was together.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I had a father or because it's literally you can do the same thing too.
How do you convince them that?
I just continue to like not be judgmental. I continue to bring them into my world. Like it's scary. I felt myself changing. It was scary stepping into a new world, to having a confidence to talk to different people that weren't from where I was from. Oh yeah. And
growth hurts sometimes.
Yeah,
you go to the gym, you work out, you sore.
Yep. You think your friends gonna be the same friends from childhood, and now y'all don't even have nothing to talk about.
Ain't that shit heartbreaking?
Yep.
Close us out with something. Give us your high thoughts. Tell them how they can find you. But I want you to just give us some closing thoughts.
I think right now in this climate, and we're not sure what's going to be happening in the next few months or whatever with all the things that's going on in the world. I just want people to think about how they think. Like, just sit for a moment with your thoughts, take a pause, be still, and truly just think about how you think and why you think that way.
I love that, man.
That's it. Like, we don't question the things like accountability.
Yeah.
We don't question why we think the way we think. We
Facts.
never ask ourselves that.
Facts.
And I think if we have the answers that we need, we just have to slow down, sit with our thoughts, and just think about the way we think.
Yeah, it's okay to be still.
It's okay to be like stillness. That's my shit now.
Where they can find you at?
You can find me at Chrissy O Kristina on Instagram. My website is lylopconsulting.com.
Yes.
LYLOP consulting.com. That stands for Live Your Life on Purpose, because that's what I'm all about. And you can connect with me and find my books there, my blogs there.
Get the books.
Get the books. Stay tuned for the next books. Like, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Anything coming up with that?
Yes, I'm working on 2. One is called Respectfully. Make a lot of people mad, but it's gonna hurt. But it's out of love. And then the other one, it's called The Reset. Is a workbook for women and how to just reset yourself.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. High thoughts. First, let me say thank you for coming out. Amazing show, amazing conversation. Everything is connected. There's no coincidence. You like to believe so. It takes away from accountability.
Yep.
But everything truly is connected. You know, if we're lucky, we live a million lives.
Yep.
You know, we wake up, we got a chance to do it all over again. You could be whoever you want to be, whenever you want to be that. Any day, you could choose.
Yep.
So know who you are. Know what you got inside of you and know your worth, know your value, but know your potential as well and go after it. No one's going to come do it for you. No one's coming to save you. You got to save yourself, but you got everything you need to do what you got to do. So just do it. You know, we get one life in this form. But every day that we're alive, we get a chance to reinvent ourselves, recreate this thing, and live it out however we want to do it. And, you know, I like you, traveled. I, like you, deal with mental health and this and that, but I'm okay. I'm here.
Yep.
Right? I'm a survivor.
Yep.
Right? I'm a warrior. And it's not just you and it ain't just me.
Yep.
We all dealing with it. Have grace for yourself. Have grace for your people around you. And come back here each and every week. Floyd 118 Highthoughts. Salute. That's it. Man.
Thank you.
Well. Yeah. Shit. Fuck it up, bud. Go. Yeah. That 2007 shit got me in my bag. Never been a nigga this good for this long. Only seen a nigga this good on this song. Shit, don't get me wrong, I see they on some different other shit. Money say I'm Democrat, my hustle